Good afternoon and welcome back to St Albans. It's a beautiful sunny day today, so I thought it's probably time for a plot tour of plot 12. Didn't actually end up getting one out in December for either of the two plots, although plot 79 was and still is flooded. There you go, Pops. We just didn't get around to it, unfortunately. But there has been a lot of changes on plot 12, which I'm quite excited to show you. Some of which you will have seen in the last video, if you watched the video on us getting the plot ready for the new shed, but there has been quite a few other changes as well, so I'll give you a quick whiz round now and we'll look at everything that's changed. So here we are at the start of plot 12 where Poppy just wants to play with the ball all the time. So here we have been getting the ground ready to actually do some planting into, which is quite nice. We have actually started defining the paths down the middle. You can see there, and the greenhouse has moved there as well. So on this side we are planning to do some alliums, or some onions more specifically. There you go, Pops. So I've been weeding this out and trying to get it ready. Ideally we'd get some of the compost that we have on plot 79 and put it around it, Pops, and then just do the onions straight into that. But unfortunately, because plot 79 is quite flooded, the compost is soaking wet and it's quite difficult to get out of the water. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to, but we'll try. And then on this side we have our garlic. So the garlic that we put in the ground on plot 79 is gone. That's been completely flooded out, unfortunately. It's way under the water now. So we already had some backups that we'd done in modules, so we put those in here, so they were pre-sprouted. These 4 elephant garlic, they were saved from the flood before it got really bad, and then there's another couple of rows of garlic that have gone in. I actually can't remember whether it's hard neck or soft neck garlic. I'm going to have to look at my order history to find out. But I think some of it also might be Sergio's dad's garlic that he gave us as well, that we've been pre-sprouting in modules. And then we're moving on, so there's a big space here. We're probably going to need some sort of a path somewhere, but then we could either do some more garlic or save the space for something else later in the season. We've got the celery from last season, which is still doing okay. The sprouts, the purple sprouts, are not doing as well, really. They are edible, but they're not great. It's certainly not good enough for Christmas. And then you've got the kales are looking pretty good, apart from they have been a bit gnawed on by pigeons where they keep eating the tops of them. But actually, as a result, we've got these little tiny side shoots coming off, which I really like, and I don't really like kale normally, but these side shoots are really delicious, and actually they're getting to a decent size now as well. So it's not a complete failure there. The carrots were here. They, I think, are all out now, and then next to that you can't really see now because of the frosts, but we had parsnips here, and I've taken about half of them out. And we used those for Christmas. They were absolutely delicious. My mum liked them a lot. And then there's about another half of a bed to go there, which we'll take out when we have roasts, which hopefully will be on Sunday. And then we have started to mark out some more of the paths. And the reason for doing that, so we've got those ones down the middle, and then we've got ones coming off of the 2 side paths, kind of into the plot around where the greenhouse is going to go. And we're doing that just so that we kind of know roughly where to avoid when we're planting. So when we're putting things like garlic in, you don't want to be doing it too far into the path, because you're going to either have to dig up the garlic or wait to do the path until the garlic has come out, which is obviously quite a long time into the next season. I think Poppy wants me to throw the ball again. So they're obviously not tidy, and they're certainly not straight or anything like that, but we need to use a drone or something to help us get those nice and tidy. But they're there just roughly as a guide for us to figure out exactly where to avoid when we're planting. Sergio's digging over a bed because we don't have enough compost to do no dig for the whole plot at the moment, so we're going to have to do some digging, and it's looking really lovely. Thank you, Sergio. And then we get towards the back bit, which was covered up for a really long time, and we've uncovered it, and apart from being disgustingly muddy, it's quite weed free under there now. We're doing okay. Under this table, this isn't where the table's going permanently, but it's just here for now. In the sunshine, I think we have some bluebells, some wild garlic, and something else which I've forgotten, so let's have a look. These are, oh yeah, cauliflowers, all year round cauliflowers, because apparently you can sow those now, and I did have some in the greenhouse on plot 79, but the mice got them, so we had to do those again, so hopefully we'll get those soon. And then we get to where the greenhouse was. So that greenhouse that's there, it was here where this pile of stuff is. So not completely in the way of where the shed is going, but we didn't really want to be moving stuff when the shed arrived, especially because we needed places to put stuff and that kind of thing. And we'd also dismantled this shed. So this is all that's left of the shed. Again, it's not quite in the way. We haven't actually moved the frame yet, but the frame is what's left behind when we took off all the metal, which is kind of just stacked up around We still need to tidy this back bit quite a lot. We have an extra side panel for the shed. For some reason they gave us an extra one, so all the sides are on the shed now, but they gave us an extra one, and we think that is either just an error on their part, or because this bit was a bit broken, they decided to give us another one. So we're trying to decide what to do with this. We could use it to make a lean-to against the back of the shed. We could use it to make another shed. We could use it as a panel on this frame, which we're considering turning into a kind of winter hut where we can put like a little log burner or a fire pit or something in there towards the back of the plot. We're not really sure yet, and there's just a few other bits and bobs hanging around here. So we've got this old trellis that my mum gave us a long time ago now, we've just not got around to using. We were going to use it on 79, but obviously that didn't happen. Some old chicken coop and some old bits of staging topping here. And then at the back here we have a lot of rubbish, although it is a lot better than it was because I've been doing a bit of tidying. So this wood is all okay. Under here there's lots of old doors and stuff, so we need to get rid of those somehow. They're all rotten and not very good, so they need burning. This is the roof from this shed. Some wire mesh, which is going to be pretty useful, especially as we have a bit of a problem with squirrels here. These trees are just usually full of squirrels, and they are already being a pest and digging up some of our bulbs and stuff. So I think we're going to be using stuff like this quite a lot here. The river's looking quite nice. It doesn't look as good at the back there as it did in autumn. Looking a bit disgusting and muddy now. But I'm really looking forward to, well, I don't want to wish the year away, but it does give me something to look forward to in autumn when we get all that leaf fall and it looks absolutely beautiful. A lot more rubbish. So all this glass here was just kind of stacked up around this shed, and now it's stacked up against the old water butt, which is also part of the shed. Some of it is from the greenhouse, some of it was just spare glass that the last plot holder left behind. A few more bits of chicken coop. This is the same chicken coop that we made the seating area out of on plot 79, although they're not quite the same sizes, but we're hoping to be able to use them here. Lots of tools and tarps and stuff are just there. And then we've got our plastic trugs, which have our pots and our trays in now on this plot, so we can actually use them rather than on plot 79 where it's not usable. And then we have a couple of old water butts, some more glass, a lot of rubbish. So this is kind of where I piled up most of the actual bags of rubbish, back here, kind of out of the way a little bit, and then some more fencing as well there. Hopefully once we start to tidy this area we can start to get rid of some of the rubbish. There's not loads actually, most of it is stuff to just burn or give away. We need to get around to actually doing it. And then this is where the newly reinstated shared path is. So Sergio has already been edging it, as you can see. So we needed to know where the path was going to go, because that helped us define, hey Pops, you don't have to walk on it. Helped us define where the centre of the plot is, so that we can get the shed nice and in the middle, because the plot is a cone shape, so the only way to really make it look tidy is to have everything symmetrical. So we have, that's why the greenhouse is in the middle, and there's going to be a path running down the middle, plus two paths on each side, and then the shed in the middle there as well. I'll show you the shed now. Oh, I nearly tripped over the wire. So yeah, there's a lot to do still, but it is up and it's usable now. So we have two bits of plastic over the top of it. So one going this way and then down the back, and then one kind of going up and over. So one protects the roof and one protects the window. We have been waiting for a nice dry day to be able to felt it, but it just hasn't happened. And as you can see under here, it's just, even though it's a nice sunny day today, it's still absolutely soaking wet under here. We only need a couple of days like this and it would get better, but it's just not happening regularly enough. So we're making do with the plastic for now until we have time to do it. And then the windows as well, because we want to make them openable, we need to really plan out how we're going to do it, because the shed wasn't built for that. But we basically want to create a new window frame for each window. Hello Pops. And then, so we need a new window frame as well as a new window sill. And then we'll add a couple of hinges, a window catch, and then you'll be able to push it in and out. But we need to buy some new perspex. We've already got the other bits for it. We've got the wood and stuff, and the router rather. that we need to drill the channel for the perspex to slide into and stuff. It's kind of a finicky little job, but if we can get it right, it'll be really nice, especially in the summer when we need a little bit of airflow in here. But everything else in here is a bit of a mess, to be honest, because we haven't got much organisation yet. There's the felt that needs to be put on the roof, and we ended up buying some new felt because the felt that we were given with the shed was not really suitable at all. So we bought some new stuff which is much harder to rip, and as you can see, the windows that came with the shed as well, they're just not very good. They're too flexible and they're just not very good and not very useful. And then we've got all of our other bits and bobs which desperately need to be sorted out, and then this is our kind of food making / tea making stations. We've already been making quite a lot of meals down here. Really looking forward to making a few more in the next season when we have some bits to pick. Obviously we can still use the kale and stuff, but we basically use noodles with a little bit of bouillon powder, which is basically a stock, and even the stock on its own is really delicious, but it means you can add basically any veg that you need to it to make yourself a nice broth and noodle lunch when you're down here, which is lovely. We still need to paint the shed as well. Not sure exactly when we're going to get that done, because the paint that we want to use says that it needs to be above 5 degrees, so that's probably going to be a spring job as well, possibly towards the end of April, we'll see. And then yes, we've started to kind of mark out where the paths are, so none of this is permanent yet. Like I say, it's just for us to know where to avoid when we're planting and where to start defining the beds. And then as we go round, we get to, well, towards the start again. So this is the opposite version of the bed that Sergio is digging over there. We're not sure really if we're going to put the glass back in this greenhouse yet, because it's a lot smaller than the big greenhouse on plot 79 that's currently underwater, and we'd like to move it around onto this plot if possible, but we're not sure exactly when we get time to do it, because we don't want to spend loads of time in the season moving stuff around. We'd rather just actually get growing stuff this year, because we've had a couple of years of awful flooding and stuff. So maybe we'll put the glass back in that for this year, just so we have a greenhouse on this plot, and then towards the end of the year maybe we can move everything. We'll see how we feel when everything starts to dry out, and whenever plot 79 is no longer flooded, and then we're back to the start. So again, same thing on the other side. The onions will be here, and there'll be a bit of an extra space here. They're quite big beds, so they do need splitting up, but it also gives us quite a lot of flexibility. And I don't think it shows up very well on the camera, but now that we've got the path edge there, and then the path where Sergio's standing right now, you can kind of see that it kind of gets bigger, and it's because it's a cone shape. So each of the beds is actually a slightly different size, making it a bit of a challenge to build anything like portable netting cages or anything like that. But it does mean that the further back you go, the wider the beds would get if we didn't have anything splitting it up. So I think it's starting to look pretty good. I'm really happy with this path here. It really kind of splits everything up and makes it all feel manageable, and it all feels to me now like it's actually usable as a plot. It's very exciting to get some garlic in, and hopefully this season we actually get some garlic. Oh, and the bulbs are coming up as well, I've just seen, which is really exciting too. So Sergio's put quite a lot of bulbs along the front here, and I think there's some this side too, which is very exciting, because that means we're finally going to start to see some life on the plot again, which is really lovely. So there we have it, the first plot tour of plot 12 for 2022. I told you quite a lot has changed. There's still loads more to do, and nothing is quite right yet, but it is so much better than it was even just a couple of months ago, and it actually is now a usable plot. So regardless of what happens with plot 79 in the future, we now have a plot which we can actually grow stuff in. So hopefully this year we'll get some tomatoes, we'll get a lot of chilies, we'll get some garlic, that'd be lovely. And we didn't have any squash last year either, so really hoping, fingers crossed, for a really nice summer where we can just get an abundance of stuff, so that we can feel like this is all actually for something again. But we'll see what happens. I'm very excited for the next season. I'm just about to start sowing my chilies actually. Not sure exactly if I'm going to do them all now, if I'm going to do some now and then do some towards the end of spring just as backups. I also had a really bad problem with fungus gnats last year, which decimated some of the seedlings, so I'm hoping that we can control all of that this year. I kind of know a bit better of what to do. Last time I tried just kind of drying them out to kill off the babies, the fungus gnat babies, but that didn't really work. All it did was just damage the seedlings. So this year I'm just going to use nematodes and be done with it from day one if we get the same problem. But I will be doing videos on that soon, hopefully. So hopefully I'll see you in those videos. But from me, Sergio and Poppy, who are actually at the plot with me this time, Take the very best of care, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.